A very good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today for our first virtual event at the Evidence for Climate Action Pavilion at COP30. My name is Vlad Arnodov. I'm the Secretariat Coordinator of the AF and it's my pleasure to be the moderator of the event today on readiness for climate finance. So this very short 30-minute virtual event is going to introduce to you the evaluation of the Adaptation Fund Technical Evaluation Reference Group of the Readiness Program of the Adaptation Fund. It's a evaluation that we have concluded recently, and it's a very interesting piece of work that provides a lot of evidence and learning about capacity building and readiness programs in the climate finance space. And before I give the floor to my esteemed colleague, Sitavisu Gandure, who oversaw this evaluation, I just want to make a few housekeeping notes. First of all, you won't be able to ask questions in person. So whatever questions you have, please kindly put them in the chat and we'll ask them after the end of the presentation. And for those of you who are here in person at the Climate Finance Pavilion, at the end of the event, we can have also in-person chat. So I'll give the floor to my colleague Sitabisu now to take us through the presentation and I hope you all enjoy it. Sitabisu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vlad, for the introduction. So I would like to, as introduced, I'm the Adaptation Fund Technical Evaluation Reference Group member, and I was responsible for leading in this evaluation. And I would like to acknowledge my colleague as well, who is online, and that is Anish Kotru, who was also part of this evaluation. And also, I would like to acknowledge the OPM, the Office for Program Management, that really conducted this evaluation in conjunction with the AFTEG. So this evaluation in itself looks at a long trajectory. It is the first evaluation of the readiness program within the Adaptation Fund. So we are looking at a period from 2014 to today. But now if I just want to give you a snapshot of what the readiness program is all about. The program itself was developed in order to enhance access to climate finance for developing countries. So it provides targeted support to address the common challenges in securing funding, such as the limited institutional capacities. In doing that, it has 4 components to it. There's one component that focuses on support provided to accredited implementing entities. So this is technical assistance in various forms, enabling them to design and implement adaptation projects. The second component looks at cooperation, partnership with other climate finance readiness providers. Here we are talking about co-development, dissemination of outreach materials, and so forth. The third component is focusing on the NIEs that are seeking accreditation with the Adaptation Fund. And here, the Readiness Program provides a combination of grants. Some of them are the Readiness Program grants. We have the the South-South Cooperation grants. We have the project formulation grants, and so forth. The fourth component is knowledge management. And here it's really dissemination of information, whether it's media outreach, case studies, and websites, and so forth. But within this evaluation, our focus was mainly on component 1, 2, and 3, and how these in combination also contribute to the knowledge management element. And so part of this evaluation really was to look at what other climate finance institutions are doing. understanding how the readiness program of the Adaptation Fund can actually learn from this. And one thing that was good for us when we're doing this evaluation is that it happened at a time when the Adaptation Fund itself is developing an enhanced readiness program strategy. So the results of this evaluation are going to inform that together with the midterm strategy of the fund. Our evaluation was really guided by the OECD criteria and also the Adaptation Fund evaluation policy itself, which has specific guidelines on how we conduct evaluation. So it looked at 5 criteria: the relevance of it, the effectiveness, how it achieved its objectives, and the coherence. And here we're looking at both internal coherence within the program itself, as well as how it was compatible with other readiness programs of other funds and institutions. Efficiency, we are looking at the extent at which the readiness program was cost effective, how it was timely, and how it utilized its resources. The impact was looking at the extent at which the program itself generated either positive or negative or higher level impact in itself that contributes to the adaptation fund in general terms. So using that criteria, of course, we developed a broad-based methodology. And this methodology, I must mention now that it was utilization based. We had a theory focused approach where we developed a theory of change to guide the evaluation so that we are able to map how the various outputs were contributing to the outcomes. And one thing interesting with our methodology that we took, we called it a semi-independent evaluation because we were engaging all the way with the Secretariat, the Adaptation Fund Secretariat, in key parts of the evaluation itself, in inception, during data collection, and also during the evaluation reporting process, where we did a co-development, co-creation of recommendations to make sure that the recommendations that we provided were able to be utilized. So we had a combination of mixed methods, and those are the stakeholders that we consulted. We also had a survey. And another interesting part is that we had 4 case studies. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit in terms of really looking at various countries and how they've engaged with the program itself. And our analysis was really grounded in that triangulation process, which was really guided by the evaluation matrix and also making sure that we had a detailed evidence matrix to really show where our recommendations are coming from. I just want to give you a picture of the case study countries. We designed it in a way that allowed us to look at various engagements, at which countries were engaging or NIEs were engaging with the program. So we're looking at case study 1, where there was no engagement at all. They had not accessed any adaptation fund grants or the readiness program. And we looked at case study 2, where there was general engagement. In this case, they had accessed the adaptation fund grants, but not the readiness package grants. Case study 3 was really focused at looking at those who had recently received readiness support. 4 focused on countries that accessed readiness grants. And then case study 5 was those that we had demonstrated established success stories. And you can see from that table there the combination of countries that we did. We engaged both remotely and also in country. This was really to get a sense and perspectives from different angles so that we come up with a comprehensive picture of the readiness program in itself. Now, moving on to the key findings at a glance. Looking at the first one, which is focusing on relevance. Our main finding there is that there is strong relevance of the Adaptation Fund Readiness Program, but there is limited critical pathway for accreditation. When we spoke to different stakeholders, there is high relevance that is aligned with the UNFCCC goals, the national priorities, and it effectively supports countries in building their capacities. We were told it is also user-friendly compared to similar support from other entities. And as I said earlier, the key issue here was that it is not a critical pathway for accreditation. Most countries become accredited without using the readiness support. And here, this is partly due to the limited or lack of awareness, really, and capacity constraints that were cited. We move on to really the effectiveness part, and the effectiveness really focusing on the key objectives of the program itself. And our overarching finding there is that capacity building is valued. Results are mixed, however, in terms of facilitating access to climate finance. So when we look at accreditation in itself, you find that among the 41 countries that had received the readiness program grants, 4 countries had achieved accreditation through the readiness program support. And here we see those countries, the similarities is the strong capacities at and the institutional ownership. But also this shows that there are institutions that have benefited from the accreditation from the readiness program itself. And in terms of funding proposals, the TA grants have helped the newly accredited entities in developing and submitting funding proposal effectively. We had so many countries citing that as well. And others really using the readiness itself as a stepping stone, typically starting with smaller, simpler projects to enter the climate finance space. And one thing that was that we noted was that African countries really demonstrate that stronger conversion rate from readiness support to project approvals. Moving on to the next finding on efficiency. Our main finding is that there are efficiency gains in grant approvals, but where we see delays is in the implementation, right? The approval is within the average days, the predefined days, and this is because of the streamlined accreditation, the streamlined rolling application windows, and so forth. But also we find that the majority of grants are completed very late that have been distributed to entities. And this is due to many contextual reasons within these countries, political instability, limited capacities, and so forth. Moving on to the coherence component, our main finding is that there is complementarity and coherence, but this remains limited, which really undermines the strategic alignment at country level. We noted that within the readiness program, within the components, the 4 components that we outlined, there's limited coherence where you see national implementing entities benefiting across or in combination of those 3 components. But also there is examples of coherence that we noted, particularly the coordination between the Adaptation Fund and the GCF, particularly with the fast track accreditation. There has been success in accrediting more entities there, although there is limited or no evidence that is linked that to the support from the readiness program. I'll move on to the last one, which is impact. There is variability in the degree to which NIEs have been able to translate increased capacity, as I've said, into increased climate adaptation project funding. Now I'll move straight to the recommendations, and what we have recommended is both strategic and operational. The first one focuses on the readiness program itself, recommending that it should sharpen its value add, particularly regarding the ways in which the various components have been designed and support the countries. And we think this is a high priority, and we think this is really an issue of communicating its overall value proposition. Recommendation 2, currently As I've mentioned earlier, the Readiness program is developing a new strategy, an enhanced strategy for the Readiness program that the Adaptation Fund is developing. And we see that as a good opportunity to make sure that in the theory of change that they are developing, they clearly outline the causal pathways. And this is important because this would ensure the monitoring of the readiness support across streams, such as capacity strengthening and the readiness influence on accreditation, and it will allow that to be monitored in a clear way. Recommendation 2 is focusing on the coordination and collaboration between with implementing entities, the designated authorities, and other climate funds. We note that the readiness program is already doing that, and we are saying that there is room to actually build on that and make sure that this is further strengthened by stakeholder engagement and dialogue, and also making sure that there is attention to operational challenges and coordination mechanisms that are currently limited at country levels. Recommendation 4 is really on strengthening data collection and analysis systems to make sure that the readiness activities and their contribution to results, outcomes, and impact are clearly measured. So it means now strengthening the data collection system in a systematic way, including areas of gender and social inclusion, where progress has been very strong, but there is limited outcome level evidence to show that. The last recommendation is really tracking efficiency. And within this evaluation, we noted that we had limited data in terms of really analyzing efficiency in a holistic manner. And we are recommending that this is an opportunity as the enhanced readiness strategy is being developed to make sure that this is given stronger attention, making sure that different types of support, how that can be tracked and how they can, how they can track that and see how they contribute to results, identify what works best, and refine the approach over time. This should be my last slide. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vlad.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sikabiso, for this extremely interesting presentation and sharing with us the work that you have done together with the Oxford Policy Management team and the AFTA colleagues. I think this provides extremely valuable learnings for everybody involved in the climate finance space and in the readiness space. So probably one quick question that comes to my mind immediately is, what was the biggest challenge that you faced while you were implementing this evaluation? Can you share that with us? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vlad, for that question. I think the main one is the issue about data, right? And as I've mentioned in my last slide, the issue of really tracking. No outcome data was available, for example, for the non-financial support that is provided. I think that was the greatest challenge. And also, of course, the usually is the issue of availability of respondents, and also the fact that we were conducting this evaluation at the same time as the Secretariat was developing the enhanced strategy, which was a good opportunity for us, but also it provided some limitations in terms of stakeholder fatigue. But I would say the greatest limitation was really making sure that we are grounding the evidence on a comprehensive data availability. And that's where you find most of our recommendations really are focusing on really supporting the M&E systems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sitabi. So, indeed, I can see that there are a lot of challenges, but even despite of that, you provided you conducted really great work. So, do you think the findings and the learnings from this evaluation are actually relevant beyond the context of the adaptation fund? Do you think that they're relevant to other climate funds and other readiness programs? How do you see that?
Absolutely, absolutely, Vlad. I cannot overemphasize that. I think what I've just mentioned, the M&E systems across funds, they really hinder the way we can really demonstrate the readiness impact. And the findings from our evaluation really do provide that evidence that can really assist other funds as well. And we've seen as well from the other climate funds that this is similar across the board. And the other issue is the issue of low awareness of readiness mechanisms. It is a widespread barrier across climate finance, and working together in terms of how that can be done to really ensure there's awareness. There is awareness that's going on, but there needs to be a better way of really demonstrating and communicating that. And of course, the structural barriers that exist in the developing countries that are supported are universal across climate funds, and what we found out in the evaluation can absolutely be applied in different settings. Thank you.
Thank you, Sitabi. So thank you for this. And I want to go now to some of the questions that we received from the audience. Again, thank you everyone for joining us and for being such active participants in this virtual event. So I'm going first to the question from Sabine Durier. Sabine is asking, would you have about suggestions that you may have on measurement and evaluation of efficiency in the context that you covered? So how do you see that?
That's a very good question. And to answer that, really, it depends on there needs to be a framework of the efficiency points that you want to measure. In our case, we wanted to look at the timeliness, right? In terms of accessing the grants, and also the utilization rates of those readiness grants. And in this case, there was no measurement in terms of how do you measure. So my idea would be to have a utilization rate measurement around, which is very critical in this sense. There's one point in accessing it, but what readiness program is supposed to achieve, there need to be a utilization component. And also the issue about timeliness. I think timeliness was good. We were able to track using the program things, but that was, and then also the use, we were not able to track, for example, the non-financial beneficiaries, non-financial side of the readiness program. So you're talking about the trainings, you're talking about the webinars, you're talking about the and all the contributions that came from various climate funds, from other players. So in that aspect, there needs to be a tracking system that's able to track and the data, and then in that case, you'll be able to look at the contribution of various components and be able to attend to the contribution analysis and able to see the efficiency of the grants in the long run. Yeah, but in the ultimate fact is to come up with a framework that really suits them. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sitabi. Very interesting perspective. So let me jump to the next question from the audience, and it is from Aranjana Das, and it's about the case studies. So in the last category, there were countries where you basically had success stories. So the question is, were there any countries where there were basically not so much success? Did you see anything of like that during your work?
Yeah, because in a way, this evaluation was not country-based. We were not focusing at analyzing each country, right? That was not our purpose for the evaluation, but to come up with an overall assessment of how the program has performed across the 11 years. So in doing that, we came up with a criteria of what could be representative for us to get some input from various countries, right? So you will see in the case study selection process that we had a combination of countries, those that had not access, those that had limited knowledge of the readiness program itself. So in short, we did not select the countries according to their performance levels, but we wanted a representation of countries that can give us different aspects of the readiness program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sitabiso, and thank you for also showing how exactly the selection was done and what you have learned. So there is one related question that also came from Victor Beltran, and Victor is asking if countries are getting accredited outside the readiness program, is it an indication that support is too focused on countries that already have strong institutional capacity, and whether there are gaps in countries with weaker capacity, for example? And also there is a follow-up question of what are the factors behind implementation shortcomings? Is it driven by country priorities or instrument use? Yeah, can you shortly respond to that question?
That's an interesting question, really. And what we noted really was that and when we analyze it fully, is that the intention of the readiness program itself is not necessarily to get countries accredited directly through the readiness program, but is to build capacity. And as I mentioned, most of the countries are using it as a stepping stone, right, to access bigger grants, right? So we are using it as a stepping stone to access bigger grants from the GCF or from the JEF, in a way. And also, which is related to the second question, it's an issue of really competing priorities, which is what we kept on getting from countries to say they are competing priorities. We have limited countries, we have limited capacities within of developing proposals, of even getting into the process of being accredited and so forth. And because of that, we have to utilize and see what can give us greater value. And in most cases, then they would focus on climate funds that are able to provide with them bigger funding opportunities. So the implementation, I think, shortcomings really is country driven by the country priorities. I really agree with that. It's really matching, as I've said, what do we do with the limited capacity that we have? What decision can we make? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sitabiso. And we are coming towards the end of our event. So I have one last question, but I think it's also very important because all of us in the evaluation profession do not do evaluations for the sake of evaluating, but we do it in order to extract learnings and generate evidence. So based on your experience and what you've seen, can you share with us how you can ensure a better uptake of the findings from this evaluation? Over to you.
This is an excellent question, Vlad. And as I'm speaking, I'm so excited about it because I think as the uptake, we did a good job on this one. I think, as I mentioned earlier on, the element of really using a utilization-based and working, conducting it in a semi-independent format with the secretariat itself right from the beginning, in mapping out what we wanted to do, in highlighting the theory of change, in understanding the program itself, and coming to evaluation findings itself, coming up with recommendations. Of course, as the tag, we came up with evaluation findings, maintaining that impartiality and neutrality, but we had to hold hands with the Secretariat. And as a result, I'm happy to say all of our 5 recommendations have been agreed to, and we have come up with a management response, and we are so excited about it, and we hope we can track that. We are going to be tracking that to ensure that it's really the uptake is so the platform that we created in designing the evaluation was a good one. And the second point was that we made sure that this was really timed in a way in the critical points of the readiness strategy, which is during the enhanced readiness program design as well. So An example is that when we had completed our evaluation findings and the Secretariat was also developing the enhanced strategy, they actually found so much value in waiting for our findings for them to proceed with it. So I could say those are the lessons we've learned, and we're so excited about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sitabiso. And with this, we are coming to the closure of this event. It was extremely interesting. Thank you to everybody who joined us online today. Thank you again, Sitabiso, for the great presentation. And I look forward to meeting all of you in other events. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much.